We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item of business is closed meeting. Be it resolved, the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County, Virginia hereby enters into closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following. Section 2.2-3711. Paragraph 1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. Agency on Aging, Library Board, Social Services Board, Virginia Tech Montgomery Regional Airport Authority, and Personnel. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary?
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Chakowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
We are in closed session. Come out of closed meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Christiansburg?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Next item is certification of the closed meeting. Whereas the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County, Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion conveying the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair Christiansburg?
Aye.
7 ayes.
And now, as tradition dictates, we'll have our county administrator lead us in invocation and pledge.
If we could, let's stand for a moment of silence, and then I'll lead us in the pledge. Let us pledge, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now for the big moment, presentations, recognitions, and awards.
Mr. Chair, I'll recognize Michael Geary. Michael, if you and your group want to come forward to present awards this evening. We have Chief Hanks and Chief Sheeler with us this evening. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us here tonight for the recognition ceremony. I'm joined up here tonight by Chief Hanks of the Christiansburg Fire Department and Chief Sheeler of the Longshot McCoy Rescue Squad. Each year, it's our honor to recognize the volunteers in Montgomery County who have gone above and beyond the call to serve their community with all of our 5 fire departments and 6 rescue squads within the county. So it's our honor tonight to present the 25 Years of Service Recognition Awards to those deserving recipients. And with that said, we'll go ahead and get started with our ceremony. The first one that we have here on the list is Jeremy Williams with the Christiansburg Volunteer Fire Department. This is 25th year of service to our community. He was the past president of the Southwest Virginia Firefighters Association. I don't believe he's here tonight. Next on our list, we have David Flincham. This is his 25th year of service to the Christiansburg Volunteer Fire Department. He's a life member of the Southwest Virginia Firefighters Association.
Can we clap?
And thanks for bringing the next generation with you.
Next on our list in his 30th year of service to the Christiansburg Volunteer Fire Department is William Link Shepherd. He served 7 years with the Christiansburg Rescue Squad, 10 years with Longshot McCoy Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad, and 19 years with the Christiansburg Volunteer Fire Department.
See you later.
Next on our list is Mike Dickerson with the Christiansburg Volunteer Fire Department. This is his 50th year of service to the Volunteer Fire Department. Better known as Captain Mike, he's the longest serving captain on the fire department. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mike.
Next on our list is Joe Strickler. This is his 40th year of service to the Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department. He currently serves as the secretary and treasurer.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Next on our list is Richard Stratton. This is his 40th year with the Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department. He's a past lieutenant and past vice president. Next up, we have Jeffrey Robinson, better known as JD. This is his 25th year of service with the Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department. He's the current president. Next on our list is Randall Alls. This is his 30th year with the Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department. He's a past first and second lieutenant. Next, we have Christopher Dowdy. This is his 25th year of service with the Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department. He's a past lieutenant. Next on our list is Andrew Smith. This is his 25th year of service with the Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department, and he is the current chief of the fire department.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Drew.
Next on our list is Paul Fleener, better known as PJ. This is his 25th year of service with the Blacksburg Volunteer Rescue Squad. He's been an EMT instructor and has taught dozens of classes for volunteers across Montgomery County and the New River Valley. Next on our list is Rob Speeden. This is his 25th year of service with the Blacksburg Volunteer Rescue Squad. Rob serves as a search and rescue specialist, and he instructs volunteers, law enforcement officers, and military personnel in search and rescue. Next on our list is Steve Schaus. This is Steve's 25th year of service with the Charlottesville Volunteer Rescue Squad. He's a past lieutenant and a life member. Next up, we have Steve Palmer. This is Steve's 25th year of service with the Elliston Volunteer Fire Department. He worked from firefighter up to the rank of captain. He was the firefighter of the year. He's won the captain's award, and he also served with the Shawsville Volunteer Rescue Squad from 1994 to 2001. Next on our list is Mark Ebel. This is his 25th year of service with the Elliston Volunteer Fire Department. He started off first with the Shawsville Volunteer Rescue Squad and is now the Assistant Chief at the Elliston Fire Department.
Very good.
Next on our list is James Trump, better known as Jimmy. This is his 25th year of service with the Elliston Volunteer Fire Department. He's the past firefighter of the year and has won the Captain's Award. Next, we have David William Jennings. This is his 25th year of service with the Elliston Volunteer Fire Department. He's worked up the ranks from firefighter to captain, and he's also a swiftwater rescue technician. Next on our list is Stephen Dalton. This is his 25th year of service with the Elliston Volunteer Fire Department. He's worked up the ranks from firefighter to lieutenant. Next, we have Baron Gibson. This is his 25th year of service with the Elliston Volunteer Fire Department. He's been instrumental in cancer prevention, and he served 28 years with the Roanoke City Fire Department. Next on our list is William Harris. This is his 29th year with the Roanoke Volunteer Fire Department. He's a past lieutenant and a current captain. Next, we have Ronald Baldwin. This is his 28th year of service with the Roanoke Volunteer Fire Department. He served in the past as the public relations officer, and he's also better known as the greeter at Reiner's Oyster Supper each year. Next, we have Esley Dillon. This is his 60th year of service with the Longshot McCoy Fire and Rescue Department. He was a charter member, he's a life member, and he's won multiple members of the year, and better yet, he's still active.
Congratulations.
Next on our list is Ronnie Turpin. This is his 30th year of service with the Longshot McCoy Fire Department and Rescue Squad. He's won Firefighter of the Year. He was one of the first Swiftwater rescue techs, and he's still very active in Swiftwater rescue. Next on our list is Larry Akers. He served 25 years with the Longshot McCoy Fire and Rescue Department. Next on our list is Gary Akers. This is his 25th year of service with the Longshot McCoy Fire and Rescue Department. He's the Assistant Fire Chief, past President of the Southwest Virginia Firefighters Association. Next on our list is Ricky Price. This is his 25th year of service with the Longshot McCoy Fire and Rescue Department. He's an instructor for the Virginia Department of Fire Programs and a DPO instructor. And last but not least on our list is Chief Steve Sheeler. He served 25 years with the Longshot McCoy Fire and Rescue Department. He served as chief for the past 17 years. And in 2008, he was the outstanding pre-hospital care provider for the region. With that said, that concludes our recognition ceremony tonight. Thank you all very much for your service and for joining us here tonight.
Yes, and I would add to that the Board of Supervisors appreciates all that volunteers do for the county, but especially for your fellow citizens, how you are faithful in your duties and all the wonderful things that you're able to accomplish as volunteers. It's quite an accomplishment in this day and age, that's for sure, and we really do appreciate that. All right, next item up is something. Okay. I saw him standing out there. Yeah, there he is. They all look like they belong in a place. Clean down, man. Okay. Next item, VDOT road update, starring David Clark. Yeah, we'd recognize you anywhere. I think we ran into each other one time. We did pick up on
And
that.
keeping with my rules for who I work for, I'm going to keep this on. I may take these off because it's clogging them up.
Yeah.
And kind of a few updates I'll do like I typically do, go through some maintenance things, then update you on the construction plan and how that's going this summer. Again, we're finishing some of the cleanup and repairs from the storms that we had earlier. In fact, Dry Run, I think we opened up Dry Run all the way through today. There's still a few, some concrete work on that one pipe, but I think they got that open today. Beyond that, there's been some debris removal on several roads. You all saw from McCoy Road, Cole Hollow Road, Route 11, some entrance repairs and unpaid shoulder maintenance on Wood Road, Rock Road, Norris Run. That's most of the cleanup kind of thing. We've done some pipe replacements on Bow Hill, Bradshaw, North Fork, Rustic Ridge, and then some patching, as well as just the normal dust control and maintenance stone on some of the gravel roads. A lot of the patching, we're still getting ready for the overlay schedules, which are set to start. There's some bridge projects going on that are fall in the maintenance category, but they're upgrades to the bridge on North Fork Road. That's due to finish in December. The big bridge is 81 and on 81, one at exit 114 and one over the New River. They've still got quite a ways to go. The exit 114 won't be done until next summer 21, and the New River Bridge in 22. As far as the secondary construction goes, we are working right now on Mount Pleasant Road, that's 639. That's got a completion date of sort of end of October timeframe. This fall, there's a project to do a little bit of Runner's Run, and that's a revenue sharing project that the county is participating in, as is Mount Pleasant Road, a revenue sharing project. The next 6-year plan projects will be Yellow Sulphur Road, which we'll probably going to add in the spring. So we'll be working on Yellow Sulphur Road to finish the last unpaved section of Yellow Sulphur Road in 2021. And we are working on a portion of the Taylor Hollow project, which will be next. And we're going to do the bridge on that first. We're not going to wait for the realignment. If there is a realignment of the bad curve right there at the other bridge on Taylor Hollow, we'll take some right-of-way negotiation if we are to relocate that curve. There's a few options we're trying to look at. None of them are great. There's a reason that the road is built the way where it is right now. But it's built that way, years and years and years ago for a lot smaller vehicles and not necessarily some of the, horse trailers and cattle trailers that go through there now. So we're trying to figure out a way to get up that grade and around some of that rock. It's going to be difficult to do without cooperation of the property owner. So I didn't want the bridge part at the other end of the project to have to wait for all that to get figured out. So I think we'll be able to do something with that low water bridge soon. And by soon, I don't know what I really mean. It could be anywhere from sometime this fall to in the springtime if it doesn't, because we still have to work out traffic control for that. But I had a meeting out there with some citizens. They're aware of what's going on. They're supportive of the plan as it goes. So I think we're going to Taylor Hollow. That's all I have as far as the updates for maintenance and for construction. So I'll take any questions that we might have.
All right, we'll start with Supervisor Biggs.
No questions. Well, I do have one. I just remembered. Any update on the intersection with Prices Fork and 114? Where people are going around and they're going in the right there to turn right and they're not supposed to.
We've applied for funding for that.
Right.
We're working with the county. I don't have an update on whether that was approved or not. But yeah, that was a smart scale project. We were trying to get a right turn lane on Prices Fork Road onto 114.
Yeah, that's really needed. Thank you.
So I'm going to check to see if there's anything else on that and let you know.
Supervisor Shepherd.
I have a couple questions and a few to just let you know about. One, I'd asked you some time back about paving Mount Zion, and you explained that situation with the non-polished surface that was put down. I had another guy ask me, they were down there doing painting some lines, the yellow lines, and they didn't paint Mount Zion. And he was wondering why they didn't paint it, because it's getting pretty faded out too.
Yeah, it had been painted before.
Yes.
Okay. I know they have scaled back on a lot of the routes that were painted. I'll see if it's on that. But
He asked me, and I said,
I hard time just budget wise keeping up with a lot of the roads that have been painted, and so it may have been purposely eliminated from the line marking list.
Okay, yeah, if you can find out. I had a guy complain about where he comes off of VDOT's road onto his driveway on Whitaker Holler. And he's actually, I don't know his address, but I believe he's the first driveway on the right going in.
And it's where his driveway meets his entrance.
Yeah, he said it was like a real bad drop off the road into his driveway.
Okay.
And of course, the
the brush on. I noticed it really bad now. It's hitting my windshield on my pickup truck on Long Shop Road, a couple places. And I get a lot of complaints on McCoy Road, and I don't guess it's hitting anything, but people are concerned about it making a tunnel in places.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot of complaints about that.
Okay.
Seemed like it was another one or two, but I think that's all I have
Okay.
for now.
It'll come around to you.
Yeah.
Come around.
Supervisor DeMotts.
Just one question for you. This past weekend, I, instead of going back 81, decided to go North Fork through the valley, which is closed. And
Just a little section.
a piece. And embarrassingly, I did not recall immediately the answer to why it was closed. And you touched on it briefly in your comments that it was due to finish in December.
Well, if there's a bridge right at.
I thought it was a bridge.
Flatwoods Road. That's got the road closed. So the detour, there is a detour place, and it's really,
It was a lovely detour,
Yeah,
yes.
it's very nice.
Yeah, very
Bradshaw
nice. Beautiful
Road.
detour.
Yeah. Resale in Flatwoods, not Bradshaw. Don't go down Bradshaw. You're not going to get.
And it's a well-marked detour. It's definitely well-marked. I followed it.
Yeah.
So
And
it's a
recently repaved.
it's a bridge replacement.
It's a bridge replacement. Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Supervisor King.
Just one question on, have you heard anything else about restrictions on Meadow
I
Creek?
have not. I'll double check on that. I don't know why it's taking them.
You know, the school's getting ready to start, them bus drivers.
I sent that in and I haven't gotten an answer back.
All right, thank you.
Supervisor Clemens.
Just a question, or maybe aware, or I'm sure this has come up before. Route 114, I've had some citizens concerned about the speed limit, 55 being too fast, that there are blind spots when they pull out of their driveway, and also concerned about, and I know this is in the town, with the subdivisions going up, about most of the majority of the traffic trying to come out and make a left. Are there any traffic studies or any way that we can look at that to see the volume of traffic? They're concerned with all those subdivisions, that majority of them are coming back towards Christiansburg instead of Radford, and it's hard to make that left on those, double lanes there to come
Right.
out.
I'll see. I know we've studied it various times in the past. It may have been a while since it's been studied. I know it's 45 per section, 55. We've looked at the area near Bellevue Elementary a couple times, but I'll see where the rest of it is.
Thank you.
Where they've done it. 'Cause I know it's been studied before, but it's been a while.
Right. Thank you.
Vice Chair Bowen.
I want to thank you for meeting with the people on Taylor Hollow Road about the bridge. They really appreciated that. You didn't mention about, like, the last time you were here, you were talking about trimming of the trees. What is the plan for that? Or is it already done, or
On which one?
on any? I mean, I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm sure some have seen
Yeah.
some, but
And we have, at our lot, we have we don't have a lot of equipment that does that kind of trimming stuff. So we rely on district-wide contracts. And so they'll come in for a while and trim them. It's just a matter of when we can get that contractor in. I'll see where they are, if we can get some of the ones that you mentioned. And if,
I guess,
if you've got-
especially with school starting,
right.
The buses are going to start getting marked up, at least the roadways that I travel. So Gobbler's Knob, been getting a lot of requests to get that on the rural road edition or what have you. So if we can not forget about that the next time it comes around, it'd be great.
Yeah, the county puts together a priority list. We have some money in our rural edition fund. It's just a matter of which project the county wants to pursue.
But eventually that's like Yellow Sulphur Road or whatever, or whatever road will fall off, and then we can put another one on there, right?
Yeah, Dollar's Knob does not fall into that category. Dollar's Knob is a private road. And so there's no right of way, there's no, I know prescriptive easement. So there's steps that have to be gone through by the county to secure right of way easements and utilities
Mhm.
before any funds can be spent on paving it.
And that's probably very similar to the little tiny connector road up by
Yeah.
on Brush or Preston Forest side. I believe that the neighbors at Gobbler's Knob did fill out whatever they all gave, were majority, the
Mhm.
majority that needed to give authority to transfer it over, whether it's to the county or VDOT. I don't know what else. Craig, can you remember what other steps? I don't know is it in Emily's? I don't know.
That's what we.
I don't know all the steps.
Yeah, it usually goes through planning.
We've
Okay.
been working on McCoy on Big Bang Road, and that fell through because of right-of-way issues. But we've not received any indication from the county on which road would be next, what your priority lists are.
Okay.
And-
Thank you.
And where what happens is the county does some work on that, presents a package to VDOT. That says,
Okay.
here's the road, here's the right-of-way, it's all clear.
Gotcha.
You know,
Thank you for explaining that.
yeah, and you're only allowed to put 5% of your secondary construction allocation towards rural additions. Back when you were getting multi-million dollars a year, you honestly
That was-
that was a decent amount of money. Now you're getting $500,000 a year, and
If that.
yeah, and that's not a lot of money to build up, to
Mhm.
build a road and these roads will cost, $100,000 a tenth of a mile. So you get a half-mile roads, $500,000.
And then lastly, I don't know the name of the road. It could be Ellett Valley Road for all I know, Ellett Road. Road from Ellett Valley to Christiansburg, underneath the Smart Road rather, where you did that extension or drilling into the side. And I drove up there a couple weeks ago and I'm like, it looks pretty darn good. Are you going to do more of that over the next year or so, or are you done with that?
There's some cleaning up in that section, but we're done with that section. right
Yeah,
there.
because it looked really good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one that's been kind of on my list to get done for quite a while. That guardrail, as you know.
But it's
was sunk.
beautiful. And it doesn't look like it's going to fall
Right.
into the crevice. So
Yeah.
thank you.
That's a soil nail project. I meant to mention that as part of my update. And we did one out Harding Road, a very short section, Harding Road. Not Harding Road, Catawba Road,
Mhm.
several months ago. Maybe probably last year at this time, we were working on a little section of that.
Mhm.
We're doing, and that's what's, we're doing it in JAWS all over the place with the slides.
Mhm.
Same technology, same company, as a matter of fact.
Nice. Thank you.
David, just maybe some clarification on the rural additions. Doesn't it require 100% participation of all the landowners?
Yes, I mean, it requires a 40-foot right of way.
It requires the dedication of
So
the right of
everyone.
way.
Yes, it requires,
So-
yes, where you get that 40 feet.
Yeah.
We need 40 foot of right of way. More importantly, we need that, what tends to hold us up is where the private road meets the state road. Because somebody lives on a corner and they already have access to the state road and you need sight distance.
Yeah.
As you pull out of the state road, you have to have sight distance in each direction. And that will sometimes require right of way to cut up a bank or cut some trees to get sight distance. That's what tends to hold you up on some of these projects.
Yeah, I think I ran into an issue in my district where it was one landowner that just refused to cooperate, and that killed the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's not uncommon, unfortunately.
Okay, I have an issue on Wayside Drive. It's in the vicinity of, we're at 5116 Wayside Drive. It's apparently all the rain that we have gotten this year and continue to get, these downpours, is washing gravel into a lot of the culverts. At that location, I tried to check it out tonight. There's several driveways, but I think there's one driveway culvert that is standard width, and then there's the next one, and I think it goes on for, I'm going to guess, over 100 feet. And then I think it drops off into a current drainage area. The complainants are basically saying that the gravel has washed in there, but they said that VDOT has come out and looked at it, but they couldn't explain to me what was resolved or,
Okay.
what they determined, whether it was worth fooling with now or waiting till it got more gravel in it or what, but I was just, if you could find that out and let me know, I'd appreciate that. 5116, yeah. And there was also a complaint on the same road. Again, I think it's all related to weather. The plants are just growing like it's Jurassic Park or something. And everywhere you go, there's so much growth. And then when they get wet with the heavy rain, they like to sag over in the road. And I know a lot of commercial vehicles help you out, clean a lot of that out for you. But there was some complaint on that because it damaged, I guess, a camper. And owning a camper, I can relate to that. But if you could check on that. And I want to add to what Sarah said. I appreciate all the work and consideration you're giving to Taylor Hollow Road, probably one of the most difficult roads in the county. Going from probably a road big enough for a Model T, now you have to kind of modernize it. And again, thank you for all the trimming that you have done, because I've seen quite a bit of it. I've seen it up in Allegheny Springs and in other areas where you have the private crews out there doing that. I noticed something new that I hadn't seen before with a crew, and I don't know if it's just theirs, but they are putting out temporary speed bumps. Mm-hmm. Is that something that VDOT has gone with or requires from contractors?
Yes, and VDOT crews use them too in the right situations. It's portable rumble strips, so sort of alert drivers may not be paying attention. There's a flagman ahead. It's an audible thing, and they can feel it. It also gives the person holding the flag indication if they can't, if it's around the curve that there's somebody coming.
Yeah, I would advise you when you see the sign that said speed bumps ahead, they're not fooling. If you have a vehicle with a stiff suspension, it's going to wake you up. Yeah. So, but I think it's probably a great safety thing. No, not for myself. A friend of mine.
That's right.
But Supervisor Shepherd, did you think
I did?
Okay.
I knew you with it. And the issue back to the Big Vein Road, that was sight distance. Mm-hmm. They got it dropped and it's been fixed. And so I think we put it back on that rural addition at the bottom. And I still get calls today from people that live on that road that want to know why it's not moved on up the chain since it was at the top at one time. But anyway, that's a whole different story. The other thing, it was brought to my attention. I hadn't paid any attention to it. And I don't know if it's VDOT or if it's maybe the contractor for those turn lanes and Prices Fork. The construction signs are still up. The road work ahead signs, the big orange ones.
The one the project was just done by the old school?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to warn you all, there is going to be more work on Prices Fork Road coming up with some development that's going on up there.
Yeah, but this is, it says end road construction before you get to that.
Yeah.
So,
I think the contractor probably didn't get those down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and while you're at it on Prices Fork Road, if you just widen it to 4 lanes.
Should have done that.
Does anybody?
That's real.
Miss Gibson will get mad at you.
Are there any follow-ups to? I think we gave you at least a month worth of work for you there. So we'll, I guess we're done. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
All right, next item of business is public address. I have the sign-up sheet here, and it is as empty as any sign-up sheet I've ever seen. But if you do wish to come forward and speak to the board, you may do so. You have 4 minutes. We just need to get your name and address, and it's on you. Seeing no one coming, we're going to go ahead and end public address. Addendum.
No addendum this evening, sir.
No addendum. All right, items of consent. Do we have a motion on items of consent?
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Chairman Chakowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, next topic is new business. Ordinance amending Chapter 3, Animals, Section 3-34, dog license.
So moved.
Second.
We have any discussion?
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank our treasurer and thank you for being here this evening, Ms. St. Clair. This is something that you and I had discussed. Gosh, everything seems so very long ago at this point. Several months ago, and I appreciate you following up and researching this issue and making the changes. I think that it has been changed to a much more citizen-friendly policy that creates less of a burden on both the citizens and on your office. So thank you very much for your responsiveness.
Mr. Chair, if I could just add to that as well on behalf of staff. The staff really appreciates what the treasurer's done to work in that regard. This is an item that we've talked about for some time, and Ms. St. Clair got in there and got it done, and we appreciate her support.
And I would pile. Ms. Biggs?
Question, how are we going to get the word out?
We're going to do a news release. We're also doing some publicity over at the Animal Care and Adoption Center, which is an area that we think we'll really see a uptick in license sales. Since we're not doing them at all right now, that would be a big uptick.
And I would like to add, as a dog owner, that I prepared a speech. Let me find it here. I think it's the shortest speech I ever made. It's Yahoo. And I hope it doesn't create any more work for your department, but I think it's a great idea. I think a lot of people will appreciate not having to remember to do that every year. So very good thing. Madam Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chairman Chakowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Next item, support New River Valley Public Health Task Force Community Wellness Commitment.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. We have any discussion? Craig, do you want to add anything to that, or?
I can just add that this is an initiative that all the localities in the region are undertaking right now. The tagline, "Be committed, be well." You're going to start to see a lot of advertising using those words as we move forward into the fall season, with students coming back, with schools starting back. We just want to continue to remind folks of their personal responsibilities during this pandemic, and also encourage them to do the right things as we move forward and keep our community well. So I know the public information officers work very closely with the New River Health District on this resolution, and certainly appreciate the board's support.
And we certainly appreciate their hard work in public information, the unsung heroes behind the scenes. If there's no other comments, Madam Secretary, if you call the roll.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Blevins?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Bowden?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Chairman Chakowski?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, now for that gripping part of our evening, our reports, and we will start it as usual with our county attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing to add tonight.
Okay, sounds familiar, but we'll hope for something next time, maybe. County Administrator.
Mr. Chair, 2 items this evening. I just wanted to let the board know that we had a committee that interviewed 4 companies that had made broadband proposals last week. Took the better part of 2 days. It was quite informative. Learned a lot of information from each of the 4. We had a follow-up interview today with one of the providers, and I hope to be able to share some news with you in the next day or 2 about where we are with that. But each of the 4 providers had, like I said, some interesting things to share, and we look forward to rapidly moving forward and addressing a few areas of the county, and then also establishing a long-term plan to get I'll say universal broadband, but as universal as we can get it in Montgomery County in the next 24 to 36 months. So time well spent with the group. I appreciate the group that spent time on that. The other thing I wanted to mention tonight, you may have seen that Montgomery County won a VACO Achievement Award last week. We received an award for the Meadowbrook Public Library Summer Backpack Program. Try saying that 3 times fast. Certainly want to commend the library board and Kareem Khan, who's the director of the library. Also want to give a shout out to Jennifer and her staff in public information, because we have a lot of good things going on around here, but Jennifer and her folks package it up and send it off so that it looks really pretty when the judges take a look at it. So very honored to receive a VACO Achievement Award. One thing that I was scrolling before you got to me trying to find out, we've won quite a few of those over the year. They tout how many a few of the counties have won, but we've won quite a few of those as well, and that's a real testament to the employees and the department directors we have here working on programs to support our community. So that's all I have to see.
Well, those are 2 very important topics, because I'm sure everybody up here on this dais gets plenty of calls on broadband, especially when we put it out there that we're working on it. People tend to think, well, it'll be done in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, it's a complicated issue, and we have a county that the topography doesn't really lend itself to that simple solution, but it's also what makes our county beautiful. So, we can't really complain too much. And I know all about that Meadowbrook Library. I think I know where that's at. I think that's in District C, isn't it? Hey. Yeah, they're always doing wonderful things, always have very good programs down there. So
if I can tag on one thing, I do want to mention, going back to broadband just a minute too, for folks that are listening and for the board's knowledge as well. We have had conversations with the schools already about the areas that the kids have not been able to have access either through Wi-Fi or internet or cellular service. Appears there's about 100 kids in the system, children in the system, that aren't able to access that. With the provider that we talked with this afternoon, you heard the presentation from Brian Hamilton about the mobile Wi-Fi spots or whatever. We're talking with that provider about how quickly could we roll something like that out, with the understanding that school starts after Labor Day. And so we're very hopeful we're going to have some of those areas that Montgomery County Public Schools have identified as dead zones. We're going to get those covered as fast as we can.
very good. All right, now the board. We're going to start with Supervisor King.
I don't have much, but I would like to tell the committee it brought them awards in tonight. I mean, I do appreciate recognizing them all, but there's one group of people we do need to recognize, and that's the family and the spouse of the volunteers. I mean, they give a lot too. I mean, you're sitting at home 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, them tones go off, it wakes him up. If you got little bitty babies, it wakes him up too. But I do, and I know this board appreciates the spouse and the families of the volunteers. And that's all I have.
Okay, Supervisor Biggs.
That's a really good point, Todd. Well taken. Yeah, it's a family effort. Just a couple things. First of all, that VACO award, it's a very competitive process. And so we should be very proud that we got that. And I know about that program because that program's been going on for a while down there at the library. It's an excellent program and it really helps the community. I just wanted to send a shout out to everyone that participated as a sponsor or as a virtual racer for the Race for ACE. This past weekend, we had a virtual race. It occurred from August 7th through the 9th. And at the time of the race, we had about $9,000. Sponsorships were a little bit down this year, but it's hoped to make up through the race to the $13,000 that we made last year. And I've been a sponsor the last 2 years, so I would encourage you all next year to put your money in there and be a sponsor. And there are two people that need to be recognized for their efforts here. And that's Kelly McPherson, who was the race director, and Martha Ann Stallings, who is the chair of the committee that I serve on for the steering committee for Race for ACE. If it weren't for those two women, I don't know really what would have happened this year, because we weren't able to have our meetings. And so they just sort of took it upon themselves and kept the group informed and went ahead and did everything. And so I want to give a shout out to both of those and to all the people that supported it. It's a really important program that we have going here. And that's it.
Thank you. Supervisor DeMontz.
Just two things. First is, of course, a big thank you to all the volunteers that we celebrated tonight. That's always such a special ceremony to have here, and I hate that we weren't able to do it in the normal way where we got to shake everybody's hand, but it doesn't mean that we don't thoroughly appreciate them. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that. It's always great to see the love for community reflected in the service of our volunteers. And then also, I wanted to just make note of a couple of groups that are working in the community as we're approaching, and of course, we've got our college students returning, and there's a lot of concern. My district especially, I do live in the most densely populated district in Montgomery County, and so there's a lot of concerns about what the pandemic could mean with the students returning. So the Radford City Council and the Blacksburg Town Council are both diligently working on possibly some procedures or policies that can be implemented in light of the college students returning, and how do we make responsible decisions that can help the community weather the pandemic as healthfully as possible. Also wanted to highlight the work of the New River Valley Apartment Council. They've been working with the Blacksburg Police Department to see if we can have some form of action across apartment communities that's fairly uniform, so you don't have one apartment community that's known as the party property where everybody goes, because the other apartment communities have enforced rules about social distancing and limiting gathering sizes. So I want to thank the Apartment Council and its members for working with the Blacksburg Police Department to try to standardize some form of rules to keep the community safe. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Supervisor. Isn't that what I said? Shepherd.
I'd just like to reiterate what everybody said about the volunteers. I really appreciate all the fire and rescue members and their families. And I know they do give a lot. And those tones going off, I used to do that. Phone ring in the middle of the night when I was a police officer, so I get it. So I just thank you to all of them.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Blevins.
A couple of committee reports. First of all, again, as echoed, as shared by Mr. Meadows, we're very proud to have the Meadowbrook Public Library Summer Backpack Program win the VACO Award, and they were one of only two libraries systems in Virginia to be recognized for that VACO Achievement Award. So we're very proud of them. And with the Board of Social Services, we have a new hire director, Ms. Kelly Edmondson, and she is bringing 20 years of experience and service to that new position. And we're very fortunate to have her, and we want to welcome her and wish her well in her service. And then just on a couple of community things, again, as echoed here, we are so blessed to have the wonderful volunteers that dedicate and provide a wonderful service to our citizens, and to see some of these gentlemen be recognized tonight with 50 and 60 years of service. That is amazing, the dedication. And again, a thank you to their families for supporting that. And we are so blessed to have such dedicated volunteers. So a sincere appreciation to them. Then I'd wanted to also to recognize Supervisor DeMontz for the Montgomery Chamber of Commerce Community Builder Award. That is great. So again, she's out serving the community, and we always have the best people. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Very, very welcome. And then just a reminder of the Back the Blue rally this Saturday, August the 15th, to show support to all of our local law enforcement agencies throughout the county. And that will be from 2 to 3 this Saturday, the 15th. Is it in front of the sheriff's office or kind of on the corner of the sheriff's office? Yeah. And we encourage citizens to the side and parking in the back of the sheriff's office. Okay. And we encourage all of our citizens to come out and show their support. As a wife of a law enforcement officer, just like with our other first responders, it's a family ordeal. And we are so appreciative and blessed to have such amazing law enforcement ladies and gentlemen that serve. And I know we have 2 former police officers with Chair Fitzkowski and Supervisor Shepard, and we are so blessed to live in the area. And so just come out and support Back the Blue. That's all.
Thank you. Vice Chair Bone.
I'd like to echo all of the thanks for our firefighters and our rescue squad members. It's amazing what you all do. Thank you. I would like to recognize Sheriff Parton and all of his deputies and everybody else in his department. Sometimes we are blessed with your presence, Sheriff Parton. And when we are, I want to take advantage of thanking you during this very difficult time. You and every one of your staff are just doing an amazing job. Thank you. I also want to thank Ms. St. Clair for your work in the Treasurer's Office. It's a shining example of what constitutional officers can do with the county, and we can only be so grateful for you and your staff also. I want to thank the county staff for putting on a great work session last week, getting us up to date on our different construction projects throughout the county. That was very, very helpful and enlightening. And one thing that I have a question about, and it's goes off of what Supervisor DeMotts was saying about the return of students. You know, a lot of students rent houses in my district just outside of town lines. And I'm wondering if we can do a little of an insulation ordinance or something like that, just so that they, for example, don't choose to rent an Airbnb in my neighborhood to have a wild party, even though they're not supposed to. But the poor sheriff's department doesn't need to be tracking down which Airbnb is the party Airbnb in the county. So I think we should think about that. And I'm not saying it's just Airbnbs, but I'm saying that students rent plenty of houses in my district outside of the town of Blacksburg, that if we don't reinforce and strengthen, maybe within a mile of town limits, we might have some trouble. So I would ask that the board think about that, whether it's a mile or 2 miles, just so that, there's no cause for alarm.
Are you talking about limiting, like, how many people could have a party, or what exactly are you?
I know we don't have bars in my district outside the town limits. I'm just worried that things are going to spill over. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to help prevent that from happening. And I'd like some smarter people than me to figure that out. If for example, the sheriff's department might see that there might be a concern in that area in spillover. So that's what I'm asking smarter people than me to think about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Last but not least, I'm going to give a quick report on the VACO Transportation Committee meeting that we had last week. There were several speakers that talked about our transportation issues, but Nick Donahue, the Deputy Secretary of Transportation, was there. And he was running down some of the issues with highway funding. David Clark should have stuck around for this one, even though I'm sure he knows these numbers. But, a lot of sources that they use for revenue for roads here in Virginia are down. Auto sales are down, he said 33%. Fuel taxes are down 24%, and that's something that is, of course, where we get the majority of our money for roads. So our folks in Richmond really need to be thinking and I guess start getting creative on how they're going to solve that issue, because I think that's probably one of the most expensive items the state spends our tax dollars on, because roads are very expensive. He did talk about something that I thought was very interesting in light of the fact that we want a railroad station here in Christiansburg. And he talked about Long Bridge. For those of you who don't know what that is, there's only one bridge that crosses over into DC, and it's being used for freight. And if you want to mix passenger trains in there, it's a problem. So they've come to an agreement with CXS to build this bridge, and also a lot of new rail that I didn't realize, but he said that the state would own. So there won't be any conflict. But now most of this rail is not going to be anywhere near us. It's all going to be in the I-95 corridor, but it's desperately needed and will help with transportation issues. But they're talking about an extra rail between Alexandria and DC, an extra rail between Richmond and Northern Virginia, another one from Fredericksburg to DC, which I would think they'd run side by side. But a lot of work's being considered, and a lot of folks in transportation believe that rail can really help us out a lot and reduce the number of vehicles on the roadway. So he talked about improvements to the smart scale, which I never have figured it out to begin with. So if there's any improvements to it, I probably wouldn't notice. But he's talked about that. He talked about extending rail to Christiansburg and how they would have to deal with Norfolk Southern because they own the track and we don't. So that, but he said that they were making progress with it. So that was good to hear. Recordation, is that right?
Recordation tax.
Recordation?
Yeah, recordation.
The recordation taxes that used to go to local governments. I think 20 million used to go to local governments, and it was diverted to the Hampton Roads Authority. And then the state took 102 million away from the Northern Virginia Authority for funding light rail to DC. So they're kind of moving things around, and what the committee was concerned with is now we're in an authority. We have an authority now for I-81 expansion, and what will happen if the state decides to pull money out of that and send it somewhere else? That was a concern. Those are just some of the concerns we had at the committee meeting. I thought it was pretty interesting. So much for that. I also wanted to add that we really do appreciate our firefighters and our EMS. You know, what can you say about volunteers? Gosh, you know, Supervisor Shepard and I did it for a living. We got paid for it. Still didn't make it any less dangerous and didn't make it any easier on our families. And I wanted to end with a little story. One of the things that your wife or family does not want to see is late at night, another police car not containing your husband or spouse. Police officers come to you late at night. That's always a bad sign. But late one December, I was working on the interstate, and two of my compatriots decided to go by my house to sing Christmas carols to my family. Of course, my wife had to pick her stomach up off the floor because, of course, she was thinking the worst of the worst, but they came to sing Christmas carols, so it's not always bad. It's not always bad. Is anything else needed to be added? Okay, I think we've said enough. This meeting's adjourned.